What if I told you that in medieval times, simply owning a cat could put your life at risk? That this small, silent creature at your hearth could brand you a witch? Or even a servant of the devil himself? Imagine it. A quiet night in a medieval village. The air smells of wood smoke and damp earth, the cobblestones slick beneath your boots. The houses lean so close together that their wooden beams almost touch above your head. Life is harsh here, hunger is constant, disease is everywhere, and superstition clings to every shadow. And then, from the corner of your eye, you see them, two glowing orbs reflecting the moonlight. A cat. It slips silently through the darkness, unseen and unheard. In our modern world, we might smile at such a sight. But in the Middle Ages, those unblinking eyes carried a meaning far more sinister. You see, the church was the center of life. Every thought, every action, every misfortune had to fit within its framework of sin and salvation. And in a world where unseen dangers lurked at every turn, the mysterious nature of cats made them deeply suspicious. They prowled at night, vanishing and reappearing as if guided by unseen forces. Their eyes, glowing unnaturally in the dark, looked like portals to something otherworldly. Their moods were unpredictable, affectionate one moment, clawing the next. To villagers steeped in fear of the devil, this was no ordinary animal. By the 13th century, suspicion hardened into official doctrine. Pope Gregory IX issued a decree condemning black cats, tying them directly to satanic rituals. Overnight, a creature once tolerated became a potential sign of heresy. To own one could be taken as proof of dark allegiance. And yet, here's the strangest part, people still needed them. Step into a medieval farmhouse. The hearth is warm, bread bakes on the fire, and sacks of grain are stacked neatly against the wall. But listen closely. You hear scratching. Mice. Rats. Tiny invaders that can destroy food supplies in days, spreading sickness and starvation. Who can stop them? Not dogs, not traps, but cats. Silent hunters, perfectly designed for the task. And so families faced a paradox. Publicly, they might whisper of the cat's ties to the devil. But privately, they relied on its sharp claws and silent feet to keep hunger at bay. It was a secret dependence that would soon twist into tragedy. When the Black Death swept across Europe in the 14th century, terror spread faster than the plague itself. Villages fell silent overnight, corpses lined the streets, and no one understood why. In desperate need of someone, or something, to blame, people turned their suspicion once again to cats. Communities slaughtered them, believing their presence brought the devil's curse. But this was a fatal mistake. With cats gone, rats multiplied unchecked. And it was the fleas on those very rats that carried the plague. In killing the cats, people may have sealed their own fate, deepening one of the greatest disasters in human history. A cruel irony, the animals accused of spreading death were the very ones that could have helped prevent it. But the story doesn't end there. In the centuries that followed, cats became entangled in yet another web of fear, witchcraft. Medieval courts were filled with whispered tales of women gathering at midnight, invoking dark powers. Always, cats lingered in the background of these stories. They were said to be familiars, spiritual companions that carried out their mistress's bidding. Some even believed witches could transform into cats, moving unseen through the night, only to return to human form by morning. Picture yourself walking home beneath a full moon. The streets are silent. Suddenly, a black cat darts across your path. Today, you might shrug and keep walking. But in the Middle Ages, that moment could mark you as cursed, watched, or even targeted by forces beyond human comprehension. And so, countless women, and their cats, were dragged into trials, tortured for confessions, and condemned as agents of evil. But why cats, and not other animals? Part of the answer lies in symbolism. In medieval manuscripts, cats often creep in the margins, sometimes curled lazily around text, sometimes scratching or biting. To artists, they embodied secrecy, independence, and mischief. Unlike dogs, whose loyalty was celebrated, cats refused to obey. They lived on their own terms. In a society built on obedience, to God, to church, to Lord and King, that independence was threatening. A cat could not be trained. It could not be controlled. It chose where to live and whom to trust. And so, it became the perfect symbol of rebellion, mystery, and hidden knowledge. Qualities that, to fearful minds, hinted at something darker. Life in the Middle Ages was filled with uncertainty. Famine, war, and disease loomed constantly. Science was still young, and the natural world held countless mysteries. When people encountered something they couldn't explain, those glowing eyes at night, that silent leap from the shadows, it was safer, perhaps even comforting, to call it evil rather than admit ignorance. Cats became the vessels for these fears. They weren't really servants of the devil, but in the medieval imagination, they embodied everything that humans couldn't control. And yet today, things are very different. Cats curl up on our couches, purring softly, far removed from the fears that once condemned them. The very traits that once inspired suspicion, independence, mystery, silence, are now what make them beloved companions. Still, their strange journey through medieval times reminds us of something important: how fear and misunderstanding can shape history in bizarre and tragic ways. So the next time your cat fixes you with that unblinking stare, remember this. Once, long ago, that same look might have been seen as the devil gazing through mortal eyes. And perhaps the true lesson of the Middle Ages is this: that the strangest beliefs are born not from truth, but from the shadows of fear and the mysteries of the unknown.